And multiple schools and teachers glorifying terrorism, endorsing violence, and praising martyrdom. Those were the findings of a joint report on UNRWA schools, the UN-funded schools for Palestinian refugees.
UNRWA teachers and staff were also documented demonizing Israelis, promoting anti-Semitism, and denying Israel's existence. Some even praised the October 7th terrorist attacks. NTD spoke with the executive director of UN Watch, who says American taxpayers pay for this.
The 2023 joint report on UNRWA school indoctrination comes from UN Watch and the Institute for Monitoring Peace and Cultural Tolerance in School Education. It identified well over 100 UNRWA teachers and staff that promote hate and violence on social media. The report was presented to Congress last week as it considers bills to eliminate funding for the agency. It was submitted to the UN with no answer yet.
We've not seen any action, anyone fired. These are teachers who glorified one of the worst atrocities of our time, a mass terrorist attack.
Hillel Neuer, executive director of UN Watch, told NTD that U.S. taxpayers are paying them.
They called them heroes, the murderers. They called them princes, said it's a glorious day, and we're paying for it. You know, I'm living in Switzerland. I'm Canadian. Both those countries, Canada and Switzerland, give money to UNRWA. The United States is giving well over $300 million a year to UNRWA. The American taxpayer is paying for teachers who are celebrating the murder of Jews.
Former President Trump cut all U.S. funding for UNRWA in 2018. The State Department called it an irredeemably flawed operation after reviewing the agency's business model and practices. The Biden administration brought funding with conditions back in 2021.
If a teacher in the United States at a public school were found to be glorifying Hitler and celebrating the mass murder of anyone, that teacher would be fired immediately, would never go before a classroom again. Why is it that Palestinian children are denied their basic human rights, and the United Nations is knowingly employing teachers who are indoctrinating Palestinian children, the next generation, if you will, to become Hamas murderers? That's what the UN is doing.
Neuer says it's a violation of the UN's guarantee and its founding charter to treat all nations equally. He says the double standard and focus on Israel takes attention off other countries' issues that need to be addressed.
The UN never addressed the persecution of the Uyghurs. China is immune, has never been criticized by the General Assembly. If we speak of the Human Rights Council, as you mentioned, China is a member. The Islamic Republic of Iran, which beats, blinds, tortures women for the crime of protesting. They were made the chair of a UN Human Rights Forum recently. These are breaches of the UN's founding principles, which are supposed to protect human rights. It's absurd. And regular people around the world are losing credibility in the UN when they spend all their time demonizing the Jewish state and giving a free pass to the world's worst dictatorships.
Neuer says decent countries need to do the right thing and speak out.
The fact that Cuba got 146 votes to be elected to the Human Rights Council is absurd. The fact that the Islamic Republic of Iran was made the chair of this UN Human Rights Forum just 2 weeks ago and no one said anything. I mean, the US made a statement, but that was it. The European Union said nothing. That's shameful. So our democracies, they won't always win the votes, but they have to fight back. They have to speak out. They have to go on the record and defend the principles of democracy and human rights. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing a lot of political cowardice. And that's why the dictators are winning the day at the UN.